strange pattern. In the bathroom, they find shampoo bottles stacked on top of one another. Hairbrushes arranged in a star pattern on the counter. They open the microwave and find peanut butter stuff all over the it's so Susan and Matt they just invaded their house. You don't want this to be anything other than one of the kids. If it's not one of the kids, then you have to get rid of the fault. If it's not, they don't. So they start cleaning it up, and the house was really a mess. So it took quite a while. And they ultimately just kind of moved on in a way that people who are in denial move on because they're in denial. That's what they do. So a week passes since finding their house in disarray with cans and jars all over the place and liquid in the walls. And Jamie and Marie are spending some time together. Marie was sitting at a desk that was next to the bed, and Jamie had a cup of coffee. She puts the cup of coffee down on the desk next to Marie and says, "I can go to the bathroom." She goes around, she walks out, she comes back, and Marie has her head down in the hole. She's not apparently paying attention to anything around her. And Jamie walks in and sees that the cup of coffee that had been sitting on the desk has now been thrown all over the bed. There's only been one person inside of the room, and that's Marie. She said, "Look at what you're doing. Why do you throw my coffee all over the bed?" And Marie pulls her head up and says, "What are you talking about?" And she looks over at the coffee, and she's just as surprised as Jamie is. "I didn't do that." Jamie doesn't believe it. She's mad at her because Jamie believes that Marie is the one responsible for placing the cans and everything all over the house. And so this is just another example of her trying to get attention to something like that. Jamie leaves the room to get some bleach. She comes back and she puts the bleach down on her dresser because all her drawers are open and her clothes out. And she has this bottle of bleach sitting right at the top of the dresser. She goes over to bed, picks up the cup and stuff that had the coffee. She puts that back on the table, turns around to get the bleach, and the tap has been turned off and is now dumping bleach all over her clothes, pouring out. Marie had been sitting in the chair the whole time, and Jamie had seen her the whole time. And so when she sees the bleach dumping all over her clothes, she knows it could not have been Marie. So she screams, Marie goes over, she sees what's going on, she screams. Susan hears this and comes charging in the room. She says, "What's going on?" The girls can't describe what's going on, and as they're standing there, the picture frame falls off the wall. It startles them all. They're looking over, and then another picture falls. It's one thing to have one picture fall, but to have two fall in close succession to one another, that's not a coincidence. Susan sees the pictures fall, she hears her kids in hysterics, and they run out of there, they get in the car, and they want to leave the house. And the girls will just not. This was a big moment in the story, because to this point, Jamie, without saying anything, believes Marie was responsible for placing everything around the house and making a mess of the house. Marie felt the same way about Jamie. Again, they didn't say anything. Susan was doing the same thing, but both of them did. Basically believed that either Marie or Jamie had placed a can all over the house. Now, Susan is starting to believe that something else is going on. And Marie and Jamie absolutely believe something is going on. You know, they actually suggested that we should leave our house with one. At some point after driving around, Susan and Jamie and Marie go back to the house. Matt has been at work the whole time, so he's not there. When they go back to the house is once again covered, hands all up the stairs, placed in weird orientations on the ground, things in the microwave. The fridge has been open, all the food's been dumped out, there's liquids all over the wall, and they had been, and neither had been. Now combine it with the fact that you just have this coffee and bleach incident to fix for Jamie, or even Susan. Because Susan's acting like something's going on here, something paranormal's going on, and he wasn't there. He didn't see the coffee and bleach incident, he didn't see the picture fall off the wall, and now he sees his girlfriend kind of buying into this idea that it's some paranormal thing. He was a really intense skeptic, and was just absolutely unwilling to see this as anything other than a bad she's saying, you don't get it. There's something wrong with this house. Practically, and he goes, bro, they picked the house up again. It takes forever. They put everything back. And by the end of it, it's like no one wants to talk to each other. The kids are playing with each other. Susan and Matt practically hate each other. And that's how that night wraps up. That night, all the power went out in the house. And all they heard all night was doors banging nonstop. And their stove is set for light. So all you hear is that clicking sound that you couldn't get it to turn on. He's right in front of them. There's all this paranormal activity. They're recording. They have no idea what to do. Even though we view this story and say, come on, guys. Either this is an elaborate hoax or you gotta go to the police. You gotta do something right here. You're doing it wrong. You're in denial. You're fighting with each other. You can't do that. You gotta do something about it. But now put yourself in their position. Their world has been completely turned upside down. Everything is and I'm just doing up the world is right now. They are trying to hold on to every last thread of that former life that they had before their collapse. And so they don't continue to fight and to react to the growth, blaming each other for all the things that are going to happen that have nothing to do with Matt and Jamie and Ray. So at this point, Susan and Matt and the girls are not told who the friend is. So the next day, Susan would actually go to her friend and say, here's what's going on, and then you know, and her friend would say, maybe you ought to try giving it a peace offering. You would stay in your house, and it feels like you're included, and if you offer some sort of peace offering to demonstrate that you need no harm, you want to coexist, that maybe it'll get along with you. Maybe it'll stop. So whether this was good advice or not, we don't know. But Susan finally has something that she has control over. And she really gets into this. She gets the girls. She knows Matt should be out today at work. And she knows Matt would not be cool with this. He would not believe that offering a peace offering would be way to it. We just caused them fights. And so she saw this window of time to take the girls and do this peace offering. She had this little figurine, it was a cat figurine. Susan loved cats. Figured that a cat represented something love, and so it would be perfect kind of deliberate intentional offering, showing that she needs to harm things and harmless kind of vultures. And she puts candles on this table, and she puts the cat right in the middle, and she doesn't know what to say or how to do it. The girl is sitting there like that. And Susan just kind of says, please accept this gift. Like it's usually in the arm of the woman who says. It so happens that as they're performing this ritual, Matt came home. He had not slept the night before. It had been a really bad night. The night before with all that craziness. He left work early, called in sick day. And he comes into the house and literally sees Susan doing this kind of ritual with his daughter and his stepdaughter. And he immediately goes to like, absolutely not. We're not going to go to try to interact with this thing. We're not going to act like it's real. It's not real. And so he goes over and kind of picks up on what he's doing, because this cat figure is the center of attention. And Susan and the girls are telling him, don't do anything, don't touch it. And he takes the figure and he walks up to that and throws it onto the backyard. And Susan
They said
and the girls
for
are
the
flying
rent for a few
to
days.
the every pretentious in the backyard. When they all turn around to look at the mantle, Matt thinking he had solved the problem. There is a figurine identical to the cat that's sitting on the floor. They all gasp. They can't believe it.
Don't worry.
And you're seeing something real here. And then Matt is exploiting. It's a very deliberate, aggressive act towards this thing in the house. It's the very opposite of what it's meant to do. And Susan would say that if you do, they were going to go help you. That night, after they finally fell asleep, Jamie wakes up in the middle of the night, goes down and checks if she's going to stand. When she goes in there, she sees written all over the walls, everywhere, is the word cat. Everywhere. She immediately runs upstairs, she gets the mom, she gets Matt, and Lee. Everybody sees that there's the word cat written everywhere. Matt looks at Jamie and says, you're the one that found this. You did this. Susan comes to defend Jamie and says, you're the one that smashed the cat picture. mess. And no one woke up to it. They were all in bed. No one woke up to this much of a mess. It didn't make any sense. They started cleaning up this horrible mess. And as they moved some things aside, in the kitchen, they find what looks to be a huge footprint. It's not massive, and it's certainly not one of the world's footprints. It's easy for us to say, well, why did you go to the police? You can remember this today. The Jules crisis mode. And Ray will tell you everything is fine. It will be bleak benign of things that are right. So they did So, in the last couple of weeks, the first one happened was only going to be there for a couple hours by himself, and even though Susan and Matt did not always go along with it, I don't know the reason Jamie wasn't there. So Maria's going to be home alone, David's thing. So this is like straight out of a horror. She's sitting in the living room watching TV, and at some point the TV starts turning on. So off, and she knows because she's been in this house now and seen the craziness that something bad is about to happen. And the TV finally just turns on. She's in her room. She's sitting with a little quiet on. Now she's just sitting there for it because she knows that something's going to happen. She watches as the rocking chair right in front of her just starts to rock back and forth, as if the person or thing that had pulled away the remote had walked over and sat down in the rocking chair and was now looking at her rocking back and forth. Marie is looking at the rocking chair and has all the pictures of the wall that no one is following the wall. Marie and Jamie had a habit of always having the digital camera with them at all times because they were taking pictures and filming everything strange happening in the house. And so as she's laying there, just absolutely horrified, she takes her camera in her hand and kind of turns it and just starts taking pictures of people running out of the room to get her phone, where she calls Susan, she calls her dad, she calls everybody, she's screaming at the phone, got to get here, something's going on, and Susan flies home, Tony flies home, and runs inside and grabs her, she's unheard, and the house is once again going to cost. Then, after it all kind of settles down, Marie says, I took pictures. And so Susan and Matt and Jamie look at these pictures. There are these weird orbs of light that are very clearly in the room with them, that are moving around the room. And if you get a couple of pictures, at this point, Matt is convinced that there's something terrible happening in the house. He's not even putting up the charade. Tried calling a bunch of priests and pastors and trying to get anybody to come over. And the best he could do was get a pastor to come over and pray with them before leaving and saying, we can't help you. So they were totally on their own. They can't afford to leave. They know something horrible is happening. They were just trapped. And finally, second major event that occurred in those final 2 weeks happened in Jamie when she was home. Jamie was in her room and she starts hearing pounding on the door. She started filming this pounding on the door. There's no one home. Just hearing her voice and terrified and someone in the town over and over on the door. But that's the door. You have the Dakota Wardrobe at Mark's. Somebody who goes has to go over the door. And so if he goes over the door, he's building the strength to reach down and open the door. And as soon as her hand would go near the doorknob, the pounding on the other side of the door would stop. Like it knew she was about to come out of the hall. And so she didn't open the door. She was back on her bed and she just sat there in the fetal position for 3 hours, listening to something smashing nonstop to the door. At some point the banging stopped. For a few minutes of the banging being done, she thinks this is her chance to escape the house. She opens the door and there's no one there. But the door on the outside was a huge dent and divot in the door. And the door handle on the outside, from the hallway side, had been bent down on the ground in the hall. wall is a pile of utensils, pots, pans, silverware, knives. This thing had been